All right, Tim. Hello. We
Hello,
are
hello.
live.
We are live. Yeah, there was a moment where I was like, wait, are we live? But we're live
There-
now. So
there's always a moment. There's always a moment. Maybe yes. I think we're there. I see the comments coming in. I see the regulars in the house. So hello everybody. I see Jerry and Katie and Leah and Lauren, Alexis. Yes. Hi everybody. So glad that you're joining us. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Jenna Moore here, our lead fitness programming specialist at Tonal. So honored and thrilled to be joined by none other than our coach, Tim Landicho, for tonight's Tonal Talk, all about things minimum dose, a maximum muscle.
muscle. Yo.
The
What's
less
up,
is
friends?
more program, if you will. I call this the less is more.
The less is more. No, yeah, that's Jenna. That is exactly right because this is the time of year. Listen, I know you get it. Also, you're a mom and I'm not a mom. So you have more on your plate than I do. So like this is the time of year where the less is more theme is definitely at the forefront.
Oh
So
my
we're
goodness.
yeah. Y'all,
So,
Jen and I are so excited to bring this one to life for you guys.
yeah, I am. And before we get into all things, I'm going to hit you with a little rapid fire Q&A as we do here at Tonal. So I want to know, I think everybody wants to know the answer to this one. What is your favorite
So,
holiday track specifically to dance to? Because we know how kids get.
oh, dude. Oh, this one's good. Hold on. The name of the actual track is escaping me, but it's Boys to Men and Justin Bieber. Hold on. Let me look up on Spotify real quick. Uh, oh, I think it's Fall Out. Wait. Hold on. This is a serious question. So I gotta
Yeah.
really pull up the Spotify. Boys to Men, but it's a Boys to Men, Justin Bieber, collab for what is it? Yo. Justin Bieber. Fa La La. Yeah. It's like it has a very danceable, so it puts me in the holiday spirit immediately, but it's like the beat and the soul to it, it just like it makes me wanna move my body. So it's like I knew immediately, I was like, okay, this is the song. Yeah.
Ah, I love that. I knew you would have a good answer to that. I was like, I didn't want to just know your favorite holiday songs, whatever. But I wanted to know your favorite dance holiday song. So
It's so good. Maybe we'll make some I don't know, I've been in this mood where I'm like, I need to like choreograph something. So maybe that
maybe
would be
you'll be making some playlists for us in the future. Who
maybe
knows?
you know what? You know me, playlists are my love language. So yeah. Wait, okay, can I shoot something back to you? I want to
Yeah.
a little rapid fire to you. Okay, what is now that you're a mom, what are you most looking forward to about the holidays, and what are you least looking forward to about the holidays?
Woo! Most looking forward to I like my child is just like in that fun toddler stage where it's just like everything is magic. And like he just looks at the tree and he just thinks it's like the coolest thing on the face of the planet. So I think like all parents would say it's like experiencing because last year he was a couple months old. So like,
Yeah.
he was just there.
You
He
can
didn't know
like
what was going
register
on.
it now,
Yeah.
like as a
He slept through the holidays last year, let's be honest.
yeah.
But this is the first year that like I get to experience Christmas through his eyes. So that's just
Mhm.
super fun. We got him his own tree and put it in his room yesterday, and he thinks it's like the best thing. So
Oh
I love that.
God.
The thing I'm not looking forward to is it's like that it gets dark at like 4 o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon. That's like my
Yep.
least favorite thing about this time of the year. I don't mind it when it's holiday season because there's twinkle lights on everything, and I love me some twinkle lights. But the second Christmas is over and
Yeah.
everybody twinkle lights
Yep.
go away and it's just dark,
Yep.
that's I don't thrive in that environment.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, that January, that post holidays slump, it's like so many things are timed at once. It's like the joy of the holidays behind us, the darkest time of the year, the coldest time of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll plan some fun stuff for the new year and give us something to look forward to that time of the year. But
Yeah. For
that was a
sure.
great question. Yeah, it's fun being a mom and experiencing Christmas for the first time, like with a little one at
I'm
home. So
sure. And he's so cute too. He's so, yeah, if you have
I
not
think so.
seen Jenna's baby, cutest creature ever.
Oh, well, thank you, Coach Tim. And you know what? He loves him some Uncle Tim. So All right, team. Well, we are here again. If you are just joining us, Jenna Moore, and I am here with Coach Tim Landicho, and we are going to talk all things December Community Challenge, which is going to be all around minimum dose, maximum muscle 2. So this is the second version of this program that we're bringing you. Last December, we did the same thing, minimum dose, maximum muscle, but we've got some new spins on it this year. The program did already launch, so if you want to go in and check things out, look at the workouts, it's already there. It's on your trainer, so you can go ahead and check things out. But of course, this program is going to be a great program for you to kick off in December if you're joining this challenge for a variety of reasons. So last year, minimum dose, maximum muscle number 1, it was 2 days a week for 4 weeks, figuring everybody is so busy. If you can commit to just 2 days a week, and then you can do all of the other things that you need to do this time of the year, that gives you more space in the week to Christmas shop and, travel to see your family for Hanukkah and all these holidays and everything going on. We went a little different this year. So sometimes 2 days a week is great. Other times we have the days, we don't have the minutes. So this year, instead of 2 days a week for 4 weeks, we flip that script. So flip it and reverse it. And now we're doing 2 weeks, 4 days a week. This time the workouts, we've shrunk them. So instead of longer, about 50 to 60-minute workouts that was in the first program, this time we're looking at, I think 28 minutes is the longest workout in this program. So we flipped it around a little bit. So Tim, tell us a little bit, why did we do that? What is the strategy? What was the thought process behind doing things a little differently this year than we did in the first program?
Yeah. So like Jenna said, this is minimum dose, maximum muscle 2, right? So when you think of that, it's like when you think of like a movie series, you're like, oh, it's a sequel. So if I'm gonna watch the second one, that means I need to have seen the first one first, right? And there are some program series in the Tonal universe that are like that, where it's like 1 precedes 2. But actually for this one, I actually want to challenge you to not think about it that way, in the sense that if you've never done minimum dose, maximum muscle, the original, I don't want you to feel like you need to have done that in order to do this one. The thought process behind, to Jenna's point, having a second program in that series, but with a different format, is really busy looks different for everyone, right? Like there are going to be some people in our community, like Jenna said, that like are super strapped for days, like days are booked, and they're like, okay, I can carve out 2 days maximum. And for that person, minimum dose, maximum muscle, the OG is perfect. So it's 2 days, a little bit longer, because we do want to get you all this stuff for your week within those 2 days. And then for other people, like myself, I'm actually kind of falling into this boat in the next couple months, where it's like, okay, I have the frequency there, but like the length of workouts, that's going to be tough. And so we wanted to have this option as well, where it's like, yeah, we could go 4 days per week, but they're all going to be super short. And so, yeah, I don't want you to think about this as like, I have to do 1 before I do 2. Really just think about it as like, what do I need the most in this season in order to really thrive and be present for my biggest priorities, aka the people that I love, the big travel plans that I have or whatever, and then orient yourself around that. So that's really the big thought process here.
I love it. Yeah, we just want to make sure we accommodated everybody and what everybody's busy look like. Because, like you said, busy looks different for everybody this time of the year. So maybe it's committing to a couple of days a week, but you've got that longer stretch of time. Or maybe you're like, oh my God, I have 30 minutes while this pie is in the oven. I can run downstairs and get my quick workout in. And I can do that every day or 4 days a week at least, but I only have those small windows of time. So now, whichever one you choose, they both can work for you, during this time. And this challenge is going to be all about minimum dose, maximum muscle too. But listen, if you got to do the OG, you can do the OG. Nobody's going to kick you out of this challenge group.
Yeah.
You can do either, but this is the new one. And this is the one that has just recently launched. So it'll be brand new to all of you doing it together from this challenge. So let's talk a little bit about the breakdown of the program. So again, we went from 2 days a week, which was a push-pull split. So full body days. Like you said, we were packing a lot into one workout because yes, we can maintain gains, maybe even increase our gains with a minimum dose, especially when we're only doing it for a short period of time. There is a minimum dose that we can give in terms of weekly volume to our muscles that will allow you to maintain, if not gain, even just incrementally, very tiny, but you could still do it, depending on where you're at right now and what your normal volume is. So instead of doing those 2 longer full body days, we've split it up into 4 days. And one thing that is similar to last year, we focused one day on more hypertrophy. So if you were currently in hypertrophy and you were really looking to maintain your hypertrophy gains and your muscle size gains, we had a day really focused on that. We also had a day focused on more strength and power. So if you were in an intensification phase, for example, and you were thinking about trying to get stronger and lift heavier, one of the days focused on that. So you were still able to maintain your strength gain. So you weren't going to lose size, you weren't going to lose strength, because we were able to focus on both of those things. We've done that again this year, but we've split it up. So we have 2 hypertrophy focused days and 2 strength with a little bit of power days. So day 1 is going to be upper body. It's mainly going to be chest day. So it's going to be upper body pushing, a lot of focus on hypertrophy. Day 2 is going to be lower body pushing, again, focused on hypertrophy. Then we have a rest day. You can add in recovery workouts. Our challenge calendars will have built-in recovery and mobility workouts for you. Then you come back to an upper body day, upper body pulling, really focusing on strength with that little bit of power, as I mentioned. Really important to kind of maintain just a little bit of power output, even in this slow period where maybe you're not really focused. We want to maintain that power. We don't want to see those power outputs decrease. And then the last day is a full body day, and it's going to take a little bit of everything, a little bit of the posterior chain, a little bit of upper body accessory work. We're not going to let those bis and tris fade away during this 2-week period, I promise. So a little bit of accessory work, again, a little bit more strength focused. So those first 2 days of the week, hypertrophy focused, you're going to see a little bit higher reps. You're going to be a little bit more metabolic with things. And then in the later part of the week, lower reps, heavier weights, a little bit of explosiveness built in there as it's kind of a metabolic moment as the cherry on top. So again, very systematic, evidence-based in terms of exactly what that minimum dose is to maintain these physiological training variables of hypertrophy and strength and power for all of the muscle groups. So, you know, you may not necessarily hit your weekly targets in terms of your new training effect goals, because this is a minimum dose, but you're going to get just the right amount so that you don't backtrack. And that's what's really the point of this program this time of the year. So,
Yeah.
all right. Tim, yeah, what do
Oh
you
no,
think?
sorry. I was just gonna say, I think to that last point that you made, I think that's where I can potentially see, like, I've been a coach for about 8 years now, right? And so it's like every year I kind of see this pattern where like folks we get to this time of year, and listen, I'll put myself in this bucket too, where it's almost like, if it's not the most hardcore thing ever, is it worth doing? Or it's not, like, if I didn't go like 110%, is it worth doing, right? And I just want to validate, like, I completely hear that thought process. And like, as a human, I experience that myself too. But the way that I've kind of challenged people to frame this over the years is like, if we're really going into this super, super busy time, if the options are like, you don't do anything, or you do this thing that keeps you afloat and then allows you to ramp up momentum once the season's behind us, like, I'd much rather you opt for that second one. So just wanted to throw that in there because I think you brought up a super good point with the minimum dose.
Yeah, and it's, you know, something is always better than nothing. We'll always say that as trainers. You know, a lot of times we're like, oh, I can't do this crazy hard workout, so I'm just not gonna do anything at all. And it's like, no, just that little bit. I think of COVID times, early COVID times when everything was shut down and nobody could get their hands on like any gym equipment in their house yet. And I was just using whatever I had around me. And I was like, man, these workouts really aren't that effective. And I go back and I actually think about what I was lifting at that time and what I was able to do. And I was like, man, I actually did a lot with a little. And so
Yep.
it's amazing. Sometimes we think like, oh, we're immediately like going to wake up and our muscles are going to be gone. And that's not the case, especially if you've been consistent. So this is a really great program for that. But also some people, this might be great as almost a little deload. If you've been doing
Yeah.
some really high volume programs, 5 days a week, you just did build or coming off of House of Volume and all of those things. This might be a great opportunity to be like, listen, I'm really busy. I know I need to prioritize some other things right now. And this is a great 2 weeks to kind of back down on my volume, my total volume, give my body a reset before I kick things off again with my next program. So
Yep.
don't underestimate the value of backing off on some of these variables so that you can then progress and push past any plateaus that you might be experiencing as well.
100%.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit. It's 2 weeks, and we mentioned it's 4 days, and I saw people wanting to confirm. Yes, it's 2 upper body days, one straight lower body day, and then one full body day. So just to
Yep.
reiterate that total 4 day split. But tell us, Tim, how the weeks progress and what the difference is between week 1 and week 2.
Yeah, it's actually it's so straightforward. The week one, I like any program, I want you to think about week one as kind of like your orientation week. You're getting used to this, like you're learning stuff. And then week two, here's the kicker. I like when you do the program, I'll actually like say this when I'm on camera, like by the tonal. It's the same thing that we're repeating, but your intention's gonna be different, right? So I don't want to gloss over like how important that is because I want you to think of doing the exact same workout, but now there's more familiarity, there's more your body knows the patterns. And so then you're out, the goal of week two is really to increase your output. So power output, volume, right? Like how much weight are you lifting? Even if you're like, I mean, will probably help if you're super strapped on time, maybe moving through them at a little bit of a quicker clip, right? So it's really going to be the intention that you bring to the second week that's going to be how we progress this. And I think to piggyback off of the conversation that you and I were just having about like minimum dose and like how it's a good way to back off if you've been doing a lot more intense things. One of the things that like I explicitly say in the program is minimum dose does not mean minimum effort. So you're still going to work. Like these are going to be like I remember when I filmed these, like they were short and like look, they weren't the longest workouts I've ever done, but like I was sweating. I was like I was breathing, right? And so I don't want you to get into the mindset of like, oh, minimum dose, it's going to be easy. We're going to coast. Like, no, you're working. You're working. The difference is that Jenna and I work together to make sure that you are hitting the bare minimums you need in terms of all your physiological markers. So to maintain muscle, what are the volume markers we need to meet, strength, power, etc. That's the main difference is that we were just very strategic about not giving you extra fluff, but that doesn't mean that like you're not going to work because you will absolutely work. So long story short, that's how the 2 weeks progress. It's basically second week, repeat of the first, but then I'm going to coach you a lot more to the intention and what you bring to that second week.
Yeah. Train as hard as you need to, not as hard as you can all the time.
Yep.
That's just a huge takeaway. It's like, we don't always need to go pedal to the metal 100%, because that is where we might burn out. We might overtrain. We might have an injury. And again, sometimes if you're doing that over and over and over, your body's going to be like, well, this is what I'm accustomed to now. And we do need to be able to, again, periodize ourselves, change up the stimulus or take a deload so that your body has that opportunity to recover.
Yep.
So yeah, there's an absolutely imperative part of periodizing your workout plan and your workout structure that includes tapering and backing off so that you can ramp back up again. And so this is going to benefit people from a lot of different perspectives. Again, whether it's just the thing that helps them stay consistent and be routine through a busy season, or maybe it's that perfect program that's coming out at that perfect time when they need to, take it back a few notches and revamp their training protocols that are to come. So I love
Yep.
that. Now, the other thing that we typically talk about in these talks is, how people of different levels can participate. Because if
Yep.
you are a beginner and you're just coming to Tonal and you're like, hey, I love this community because this community is awesome, and I really want to partake in this challenge, but this program says, advanced, and I'm a little nervous. And what does that mean? How would somebody who's maybe a beginner, look at this program and see the 4 days a week? How could they maybe adapt that, and take it at their own pace, or make it their own?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple ways to answer this. The first is I think Tonal's features make a very simple way for you to do that. So one easy way is if you're a beginner, but you're like, I'm like kind of my interest is piqued by the concept of this program and I want to be in a good community. You can join the program, but play with it in recovery mode, right? So have your recovery weights on. So that would allow you to move through the movements, get used to the movement patterns, make sure you're using full range of motion, etc. And then just make like you're just doing it at a lighter weight. And then in the future, let's say you want to loop back and you're like, oh man, I really like that flow. Now I'm ready to like do it at the actual challenge level it was intended to be. Now you can do that having had that warm up round like in your under your belt, right? The second thing, this is not necessarily like a tonal feature per se, but like you can always pace yourself a little bit more slowly if you need to. So if that means like resting a little bit longer, etc. Again, if you're a beginner and this piques your interest, the biggest thing that I would have at the forefront of your mind is like, how can I get myself familiar with this layout without demolishing myself in the process, right? So if that means pressing pause to take a couple more breaths, etc., you can always do that. And then the third thing that I would say is, especially in the community challenge aspect, personally, I really like to do this whenever I'm running a challenge is in the first week, I'm going to be breaking down. I did this with Ultimate Legs, which we did in August. I just did kind of like a quick video breakdown before we actually got to whatever day it was. So like, let's say day one, I'm going to drop that video the Sunday, but like the day before, if we start day one on Monday, I drop a video on Sunday. I'm like, hey, day one's on deck. Here's what you're going to see. Here are the quick coaching notes. Like here, like, especially if you're maybe on the more beginner end, here are just some quick coaching notes. Here's a quick demo. Here's a modification. Boom, you're on your way. Let me know if you have any questions, right? So part of the beauty of these challenges is that I, as the coach, am in there with you, providing some guidance as well, especially if you like do the workout and you're like, shoot, like this didn't feel great. Let me pop into the group and ask a question, and I'll be in there every day, making sure you're taken care of.
I love that. First of all, there's so many different ways that you could approach this. Like you were saying, taking the rest period. If you are a beginner and you're new, there's a couple of great golden nuggets in there about, how you can tailor this using recovery weights. If you're not sure what those are, taking the rest days, taking rest periods, stretching it out. Just because we say 2 weeks doesn't always mean that you have to finish it in 2 weeks. Trust me, if you need a couple extra days in there, but these are great short workouts so that you really can make them your own as a beginner or an intermediate. So just because it says advanced, don't get too scared. And as Tim said, one of the major benefits of being in one of these community challenges is the one-on-one coaching that you're going to get from Coach Tim along the way. So you're going to have that personalized experience. He said he's going to release a video for you before every workout. So really helping you break down, understanding what's to come, how to make the most out of that workout. And team, I don't have to tell you this, but like that's invaluable having the coach give you that prep kind of that little pep talk before that day's workout. So you can really go into each of these workouts with the intention that Coach Tim set. So amazing. I love that. And it brings me to my next question, Tim, as you kind of talked about, one of the benefits of being part of the community challenge is that you like to go in there and create these videos for each workout to help people before they go into the first workout in that first week. What else do they get? If this is their very first challenge, they've never done a challenge before, what other bells and whistles can they expect and how is this going to play out for them?
Yeah, so as far as community challenge goes, I would say that the unique value that offers is obviously it's in the name, but you're going to have a community doing it alongside you, right? So I think one, there's something kind of special, especially anyone who's done one of like a longer program like Ultimate Legs or whatever. There is just something kind of special about everyone being on the same timeline and you seeing people like if you're not doing something until if you're not doing your workout until the evening and you're seeing all these people posting their check-ins and they're rolling in. Now, all of a sudden, you're super amped and you're like, okay, damn, I really got to get my workout in now too. And there's something really special about everyone kind of moving on this timeline. Also, for anyone who feels like they maybe struggle through the workouts a little bit, there's when I'm in here in these groups, like I feel so it's like a coach's dream like come true because I'm in there and I'm seeing community members like supporting each other, providing help to each other, answering each other's questions. A lot of times by the time I get to a question, I'm like, oh, echoing this response because it was great. And like, and then I might add like a couple of things, but like, so that's really special. I think on top of that, to Jenna's point, what we just covered, I will be breaking down kind of more individualized guidance for those days. And then we're also going to have a Facebook Live. So something very similar to this, where it's going to be more of this in real time sort of format. If you have questions, and you guys, to be honest, like anytime I do a challenge, I always want the Facebook Lives to be customized to whatever you're needing. So I usually try not to go into these Q&As with like a preset agenda unless I get the sense that I'm like, okay, no one's gonna ask any questions, but people are gonna tune in. Let's talk about this topic. But usually I go into those with like kind of having a temperature of where the group is at by monitoring the group, and then that allows us to use the Q&A session as just kind of just a very valuable time for us to talk about it and have some of this like more in real time energy. So it's a good time.
It's like having your best friend slash personal trainer on speed dial, and you can just be like, hey, Tim, I have a question. And you can just come in and ask whatever it is that's on your mind that you're thinking about. And maybe you didn't want to post about it here, or maybe you didn't want to send him a DM, but like you have his undivided attention during those Q&As. And you can always put a message in the challenge group beforehand. All of those things are just such valuable resources, especially again, if you're looking for that accountability. Maybe you are a little newer. Maybe you haven't been on tonal that long. Maybe you are a beginner dipping your toe in an advanced program and that feels a little bit scary. Tim is there and he's going to make sure that you're in good hands. And I promise you that you are. Especially I'm looking at the comments rolling in and like everybody is talking about how valuable and amazing your form tips are. And I couldn't agree more.
No.
You have some great cues, some that again resonate with myself. My husband will be like, Tim, that was great cue, and just never left him, right? So there are really valuable tips and tricks that you will take away from being part of this challenge group that you can then go and apply to other programs that you do with other coaches and anywhere else that you train and work out in the wild, if you will. So much
Yeah.
that you learn in that time period. So I love it. Megan is calling you out and asking for a
I
playlist.
just saw that. I was like, Megan, I'll put a playlist together. Like, I love a good playlist. Music's such
Uh,
a language of mine. The other thing too, sorry, this is just coming to me now, Jenna, with the last note on that Q&A is it doesn't have to be limited to just the program, right? Like obviously I think of a very obvious thing that people use the Q&As for is like, hey, this move was bothering me, or like I'm getting gassed out at this point, and we break that down. Obviously you can bring that, but especially with it being the holidays, like we can totally turn this into like, yo, like how do I create lifestyle strategies for myself? Like how do I what are some bare minimum things I can do on the nutrition front, on the stress front, like just little things like that, you know what I mean? Because like Jen and I have talked about, minimum effective dose is the name of the game for this program, with the purpose of allowing you to put your life at the forefront. So don't think about these Q&As as just about like the workouts. This is really about like, to be honest, holidays from a coaching perspective is one of my favorite times of year, because while it's super stressful, I think it's one of the best times for people
yeah.
to really learn how to trust themselves and to put the skills that they've been practicing all year to the test in a little short chaotic time period, and not in a do or die sort of way. But once you're on the other side of the holidays, you can look back and assess like, okay, damn, I was actually pretty consistent. It wasn't like, the most I've ever done, but like this was a really cool opportunity for me to see that like life can be happening in the background. I can have travel commitments, different family things, and still be able to keep my self-care afloat in that way. So, yeah.
I absolutely love that. And I do like, again, if any of you, I'm sure all of you who are here with us tonight, follow Tim on Instagram. He's got such just good advice all around. So it's never just fitness. It expands upon that to so many facets of your overall wellness, from your mental to your physical. And so one of the things that he brings to these challenges is that energy. So yes, Tim, we love the different ways that your conversations go in these different community talks, and definitely something that's super valuable that you bring to our community, and we're so grateful for. yeah, I think everybody's just going to get a wealth of knowledge from you and just good vibes. If you just
I'm
need good
pumped.
vibes, that's all.
I'm super pumped. Listen, we're here for the good vibes. So,
We are always here for the good vibes. So we've really talked about it all. I mean, we're not going to belabor this. It's a really simple concept. Minimum effective dose. We are
yep.
making sure that with evidence-based practices, you are getting the minimum amount of volume that you need for every single muscle group in your body throughout the week, so that you can maintain your gains and not lose all of the hard work that you've done up until this point. But there's also just that aspect of that mental piece of taking care of yourself during the holiday season, whatever that looks like for you. Holidays can be the greatest of times for some people, and they can be really difficult, and that can
Yeah.
change from year to year. And so showing up for yourself for 25 minutes is really going to be a game changer if you can commit to that, and you can say, I did that thing for myself, for that short amount of time, and you can sneak that in. It will pay dividends in getting through this time of the year, however difficult it is, whether it's because you're super busy and chaotic, getting presents and wrapping and traveling, or, it's just a difficult time of the year for other reasons. Showing up and having that ability to get your workouts in and stay consistent. And like you said, looking back on it and saying, like, yes, I did that. I took care of myself during that season of life is just going to be a huge accomplishment. So everybody's going to hopefully look back on it and be really proud of themselves. So
Yep. Yep. Yep.
we
That's
don't have any questions that have come in, unless I missed any in the chat. The challenge does officially kick off on December 2nd. And I know you're like, wait, but you're here now. Well, we've got holidays coming up, next week being a short week. This program kicks off right after Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. So we are going to get you right back into the swing of things after the Thanksgiving holiday by
perfect starting time. Yeah.
exactly kicking off on Monday, December 2nd. And listen, there's one thing, people have got this whole Thanksgiving Day thing in the fitness world so wrong. They're like, oh, I ate all this food. Yeah, that is so good. Your workout after Thanksgiving is like the best workout you'll have all year. You
Yeah.
are carb loaded, you have had protein, you have had it
Fuel.
all. You've got the energy resources to
Yeah.
really hit the ground running. So take
Yeah.
that, all of that deliciousness from Thanksgiving, and I'm telling you, it is going to fuel your next workout like nobody's business.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Jenna, can I actually, this is, I think, actually the last thought that I have. And to be honest, it's kind of more of a high level thought that I think is super important, especially in the holidays. You actually just like hit the nail on the head with like the Thanksgiving conversation. You guys, this is something that I've thought about a lot, especially since being a coach at Tonal, where like I look at kind of just, like what do people see on social media, especially when it comes to like fitness and the holidays. And I think there's a side of me that gets like very protective, especially like our community and things like that, where it's like, I never want you to approach your workouts or eating or anything like that over the holidays from a place of guilt, like, oh, I gotta work this off, or like shame, or like, oh, like overate, right? It's gonna come back to, again, I think from all fronts, from like a happiness and emotional like experience standpoint, that's huge. But also from like an effectiveness, like what from an effectiveness standpoint, when we look at like just what are the most effective behavior change strategies, we know for a fact, like research shows this, shame is not an effective long-term behavior change tool. And I think this point is so important to hammer home, especially as we go into the next several weeks. If you're on social media a lot, you're like on Instagram or TikTok, you may be inundated with a lot of
Yeah.
different messages, right? Like sometimes there are infographics about like around Halloween of like this candy is like this many calories, and that means this many push-ups to burn it. Like you're gonna see things.
Throw that
So
all away.
so yeah, 100%. So if there's anything aside from the workout stuff that you take from this talk, like if you black out for whatever reason and forget everything except this, just know that both Jenna and I and the entire Tonal team, we want you to approach the holiday season from a place of wanting to nourish yourself, pour back into yourself, be the most energy optimized version of yourself so you can have the best experience of the holidays possible and not come to it from this perspective of like, I like messed up. I like overate. I like did XYZ, XYZ. You're going to get a lot of that, but just know that like the tonal team, we are never on that page. And we're always going to do our best to give you the resources that you need to come to this from a place of empowerment. Yeah.
1,000%, Tim. And I'm so glad you went back to that point because it's true. The Thanksgiving holiday is going to come. You're going to be inundated with all of these things about burn the bird and turkey this and whatever. And it's no, you are going to take all of that delicious food and energy and the love and the warmth that you filled your cup with, hopefully during that time. And you are going to pour that into yourself and pour that into your workouts. And yes, we don't subscribe to all of those things. It's a great time of the year for me to do a little like social media cleanse when I start to see those things pop up. I'm just like, I unfollow you and unfollow that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because that's not how we work here, right? We talk about, leg day. You want to talk about turkey? That's a leg day. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah,
That's my favorite kind of leg day right there. Is going to be
yeah.
coming up next week on Thursday.
That's it. That's it. Leg day. Everyone's
I love
favorite.
it. We do have a couple of comments. We didn't get any questions, like I said, but we did get a couple of comments that I wanted to bring to our talk tonight that are really great. It's Susan. Susan said, I tore my ACL last year during the November challenge of minimum dose maximum muscle. Hold on. And never got to finish it. Not that wasn't due to the program. It was she tore her ACL in Taekwondo, everybody. So we're gonna put that little asterisk in there.
Asterisk.
She tore her ACL at Taekwondo, wasn't able to finish the program. She's like, she's finishing Tanisha's challenge right now, but she's just going to join the group for Tim's lovely wisdom. And then she's going in to do Ash's program. And then she's got this program on tap for January or February. So there is another great benefit. Like just if you're doing something else right now, or this program doesn't fit in your planned program at this very moment in time, that is okay. You can join the challenge. You can get all of this amazing, lovely advice from Tim, and you can get through this holiday season, which may be a struggle for a variety of reasons. And Tim's going to be there to have your back, whether you're doing this program right now or not. And you know that this program's always there for you when you need it. So thank you, Susan, for that comment. We are so glad that you're going to be in the challenge group. And then we can't wait for you to test out the program and give it a try later on in the year.
Yep.
Allison says, I was planning to start Power Gains in December because I would like to participate in the challenge. Can I do minimum dose, maximum muscle instead?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a tough call. I know how we feel about Power Gains.
What if I really was just like, Allison, you're not allowed to though. Like you're not like you have to stick with Power Gains. You're not allowed in the challenge. No, I'm just kidding. Allison, actually, I'm glad you brought I have to message you back actually. Because I know you sent me a question. But yes, please do. Yeah, minimum dose, maximum muscle. It's actually the same length as Power Gains. If anyone's not familiar with Power Gains, it is a throwback program to my freshman year at Zonal, which is super funny because I'm like, that was a long time ago. But it was a fun program and it's 2 weeks long.
So good.
Such a good program. But yeah, now I'm on the cusp of my senior year at Tonal, and we got minimum dose, maximum muscle too. So Allison, I would love to have you in the group, and no biggie at all to do that instead. Yeah.
Arlene said that she joins every challenge group, whether she's doing the programming or not, for all of the learning and to cheer people on. And I absolutely love that.
Arlene, that's a brilliant, and I can confirm, I always see Arlene, like Arlene's such an awesome cheerleader too. So if anyone's like in that same boat as Arlene, like you're doing something else, but you just want to be in there for the community aspect and to learn, like freaking do it. Like I want to have you in there. So
exactly. Yeah. And Tamiko said she may prolong the challenge and
yeah.
do twice a week for 4 weeks. Why not?
Why not?
You can.
You know what?
Absolutely.
Tamiko, what if I really was like, but you're not allowed to though. You have to stick to like 4 times a week. I said so.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
We love that you. Here's the first thing I'll say about that, Tamiko. Go girl, go. Because here's the thing. I always am saying, I want you to feel empowered to make the decisions that feel the best for you with any program. Make the workout work for you, not the other way around. Same thing with programs. Yes, we schedule them for a certain amount of time because we know if we do the program in this order on these days, X, Y, and Z training adaptations will happen in this period of time. that doesn't mean that that's what you need in that moment of time. You might want a little bit longer. You might need to stretch things out. Maybe you condense it because you can do more and you're just at a place where you can add in additional workouts. So I love that you feel empowered to look at a program and say, you know what? I think I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it a little different. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, team, this has been really fun. Tim, I'm going to throw it to you for any last amazing words of wisdom or anything else that you want to make sure that our community knows before we sign off tonight.
Yeah, basically a big thank you again, as always, for tuning in. And if you're joining the challenge, I'm super excited. Like, I truly love to get to work with you guys on this, like, a little bit more like intimate, personal sort of like way. It's very different from teaching a live class and just, being in front of the camera. The very last thing I'll leave you with is I think this type of program is a great way to come back to the concept of having seasonality in your training, right? Like this year, I've put out some pretty hard programs like Ascending Muscle Mountain, Ultimate Legs, etc. And like I think it's just always useful to remember there are times in your fitness journey where like you're really gonna push. Fitness is going to be more at the forefront. You're going to orient your life priorities to support your fitness being at the forefront. And there's other seasons of your life where like fitness takes a back seat. The purpose of it is to amplify the other areas of your life. And I think this is just like anytime I do something like this that is a little more scaled back, I think it's just a great reminder to remember that like fitness is here to serve your life, right? And just remember that. And I'm super pumped to do this challenge with you guys.
I absolutely love it. And I always love getting to sit down and talk to you about these programs and about the fun things that we're doing. I feel like maybe next time we need to like shake it up, do it like hot wing style or something, and like hot ones and get some
Yeah,
hot
yes. Like salsa, just like what's the hottest salsa we can find? I'm
we'll
sure.
go
Yeah.
up in spice and
Yeah.
we'll really shake things up and see where these
Oh
conversations go.
my gosh.
We add in
Yeah.
a little bit of a challenge.
We'll get the views up on these videos for sure.
I love it, Tim. Well, thank you so much. Again,
Thank
just to
you, Jenna.
reiterate what Tim said, thank you to everybody who joined us this evening. I'm Jenna Moore, here with Coach Tim, ready for you to kick off our December challenge on December 2nd with Coach Tim doing minimum dose, maximum muscle 2. We cannot wait